In this video, I thought I would try something a little different with you guys. Hopefully it'll help maybe get some thoughts put in your head, but I'm just going to show some of my setups, possibly the reasons why I picked these spots. No kill footage in this video, so if you don't like videos with no kill footage, then you could probably move on to some other ones, but there's some pretty good advice in this video if you want to continue to watch it. Hopefully it'll help someone down the road, maybe jar a few thoughts. Thank you.
That's nice.
What are you doing?
It all starts out with scouting.
Me and my sexy self.
Mm-hmm. Picture them sexy boots. I ain't filming you, I'm filming the dog.
I can see that. Feel me how out of shape I am?
That tough hill to climb.
Yeah, it was. With shoes that are 3 sizes too big.
What do you think, Scout? Is that tough hill to climb?
He wanted me to stop and pick him up. You see him?
I'm at Oak Buggy Management Area, and right here is a pretty good scrape. A lot of rubs, one big major scrape, good deer trail. Come out of my tree stand, took 10 steps and jumped a deer. I think they're bedding on the end of this ridge right here. That or he heard me coming out of the tree and was coming to see what I was. Anyway, that licking branch above that scrape is about head high, so must be a good buck. This ain't nothing but a kind of a big old high ridge. It's open on top. There's some blowdown trees over there. I think that might be where he was bedded. I didn't walk over there. It's a saddle in this ridge. You can kind of see right here how the saddle goes down. Creates a little saddle. And then the ridge goes up again. All the way up. This saddle is right in here where he's crossing a lot. So I may set up in here and try to hunt this buck. That's the kind of rubs I look for right there. This buck is definitely using this series of ridges here. Scrapes, rubs everywhere. I just gotta figure him out. Okay, I'm scouting a new area, walking in blind. I picked up a big set of tracks. I was backtracking them this direction. I don't know if you can tell how steep this hill is or not, but it's pretty dang steep. The top of this hill, it just looks like it's gonna be really trashy and thick on top. It's a really high ridge. Over there is a clear-cut area with a really deep ravine and a burnout area. I guess it's burnout or they sprayed it with poison. This high hump right here is where all my concentration is going to be. Because when you get to this side here, the woods get really wide open. Now I've been way over there on that ridge. It's about 400 yards or so. And I know there's deer beds on it, but they all seem to be doe beds. Squirrels fussing over there on that side. I may have actually got those does up. It's wide open enough they could probably see me walking up through here. I'm trying to be really quiet. I can hear a squirrel knocking acorns out right up there. I'm going to stand here and listen to the acorns for another 10 minutes or so. Just kind of get a feel for where a deer might go to when he gets up out of his bed. I'm getting really close to the top of this hill, so I don't want to go too far, but I think that white oak right there is dropping acres. I done heard several drop. That may be where I set up. Depends on the sign I see when I get there. This might be an area where a big buck will step into the open hardwoods right before dark. I guarantee you if he's up there, I'm within 100 yards of him right now. If I top the hill, I'll be really too close. For comfort, he'll probably bust me. Anyway, that's my game plan. Okay, I've got almost to the top of this ridge right here. I didn't like what I saw back there on the white oak, but I got a good trail coming around the bottom side of this ridge. You know, it's not beat down, but it's a pretty decent trail for this area. The undergrowth is getting really thick right in here compared to the rest of the woods. Around here, you can see I got a lot of green undergrowth. But right there's a finger of pine trees coming out into these hardwoods. And I feel like any buck that's going to come out into these hardwoods to, you know, look around for acorns or whatnot, will walk in that pine straw as far as he can walk before he hits the leaves. So I'm probably going to get this finger, maybe hopefully find a rub or two on it and set up. I've only seen one decent rub so far in the hardwoods, which I don't expect to see a lot of buck sign down here. I'm going to work my way back up just a little bit further. I'm going to push my luck. You can't get in there on them if you don't push your luck a little bit. Wish me luck. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. I pushed my luck and I may have got busted. I could actually hear a deer walking around on top of that ridge before I started to try to climb this tree. It was right up in there, in that area. It sure enough gets thick right there. And this pine straw comes right down through here. And I think I might get a shot on a buck traveling out this finger range. Dead under my tree is a beat down trail. I hope I don't have to shoot straight down on him. I hope he decides to stay in that thick edge and walk in, instead of come out into the hardwoods and walk his trail. But it's beat down to dirt. But there's really not that many fresh tracks in it. But they're feeding on the tree that I'm sitting in. So this could be tricky. We'll see. Well, I got 4 white oak acorn trees that are dropping acorns. The one closest to me is dropping the most. I tried sneaking up on 3 does that were feeding under this tree and I got busted. But they didn't really know what I was. I think I can hear another deer walk in this direction. I hear a limb break every now and then. Maybe it'll happen. Okay, I'm here for an afternoon hunt. Here's my setup. I've got this super thick, trashy bottom. It goes up to a high ridge. Up on top of that high ridge is really trashy. Good undergrowth, not a lot of trees to set in. I would say it's a major bed area. Over here I got a pond, or like a beaver pond. I'm going to use that to my advantage, hoping that these deer will pinch down around the edge of this beaver pond. Coming off that hilltop, it's wide open to the left and wide open to the right. There's one strip of thick timber that comes down to the edge of this pond and pinches these deer. Now, that's my setup. The wind's in my favor. As it cools down, it should be pulling my thermals toward that pond. And if I can get my wind just right, the thermals just right, I should be in business. There's some good rubs in here. Been big deer activity in here before. I'm hoping maybe I'll catch one off guard. Wish me luck. Well, as you can see, this particular area seems like it's wide open. Right there is a persimmon tree, and it's got persimmon still on it. It's thick, edge, just enough maybe to hold a deer. But this is what's got my interest. This draw, this bottom, this edge, right down in the drainage, is seriously thick. And it comes around this upper end of this little pond, swamp area. And these deer travel this edge. And what I'm hoping is that one of them will be hungry enough to eat a persimmon. They walk this edge right here in front. I'm looking at a 15, 20 yard broadside shot if they come through here. They cross the upper end of this, so it puts them on my side. I got a quarter in wind, and right now I'm in good shape. Maybe it'll work. You know, that little patch of timber right there on top of this hill, it's a flat top hill, and you can just see the thick cover. You get down on a deer's level, you know, and it's nasty thick, right? Well, I just walked out there and jumped a few deer because I knew they were bedded out there. That's where they bed. So this is a little road. Don't get traveled very much, but you see, it's the same on the other side. Even more trees, and thick and nasty. But you see this right here, this open area. You can't really tell right here, but that on the other side, it's almost like a berm that's been pushed up. On the other side of that, it's just all wide open and solid rock. Solid rock because this is a strip pit. You can't get anything to grow. That's why the trees won't grow here. But they won't put a green field over it, and they have opened it up all the way to the tree line over, wide open. Used to, that was some bed habitat. Good bed habitat. All this whole hilltop was covered up with doe bed habitat. Not anymore. You want to know how to run a good spot? put in a green field in a bed area. That's how you do it. I'm in the tree finally. I come in here and I snuck up on some deer, one nice buck and a doe, and there's a scrape just about 20 yards from the tree. Pretty good fresh rubs in the area. I mean, some thick, nasty stuff right in the edge of hardwoods. The deer are feeding on acorns on several trees. I don't know if I can get a shot at all of them, but I got 3 main trails that pinched. I just heard a deer grunt. Hold on. Okay, that makes the 3rd time I've heard a deer grunt. I reached down to pick my bow up twice because I heard hoof thumping on the ground coming to this direction, but they're staying, there's like a ledge and they're staying right below that ledge right over there. I can hear them down there every now and then. Like I said, I walked in here sneaking up on these deer. The doe actually looked at me, flicked her tail a couple times and went back to feeding. The buck went down off that little ditch area. I thought they were gone. I've been here an hour sitting on the ground. I finally climbed the tree. Actually made quite a bit of noise. Trimming one limb, thinking I might get his attention. I grunted. Right after I dropped the limb making the noise, he grunted back. But he ain't never come up here. But he's still down there because I just heard him grunt. I don't know. Maybe he'll come up here and feed on these acorns. This wind is just crazy right now. But for the most part, it's in my favor. As long as you don't circle around behind me. This spot's a pretty good spot. Right here behind me. You can see down in there, I don't know if you can or not, but it is just a pile of logs. So it's kind of blocking the pathway. But there's a gap and a trail right in between those logs, going right around that mound of dirt right there. I got a trail there, and I got several trails that come around the side. It's really thick, but right here I've got an opening, and it starts to get a little more open. Right in this open spot is where I hope I can get a shot before it gets thick again on the other side. It's the only open spot in here. One, well actually there's 2. On the other side it starts getting open a lot further. I may come in on the other side because that's where the deer are. They're actually out in the open woods right now. But when he gets tired of feeding, he should come this way. Well, I was back there about 50 yards, and all these deer were up here. So I come down. I got tired of being in the cheap seat. I come down, it's open right here compared to where I was. Man, I got all kind of shots in here, shot opportunities. It's dropping acorns. They're feeding on these acorns all around in here, they're just zigzagging back and forth. The big white oak right there downhill of me. I know majority of the time deer like to feed a little bit uphill because the creek's right there. They don't get right in the bottom. They want to feed uphill. That'll put them about 20 yards to me. But I don't know what that is over there. Some kind of bench. Looks like they've been walking that bench and coming up here on this flat to feed a little bit. I got scrapes and rubs in here. It's the most buck sign I have found this year in one spot. So I feel like I'm in a good spot. It gets thick over there. It's thick behind me. The bottom is actually thick. That's a big wide open thick bottom. So maybe I'm gonna sit here for about 3 hours. It's already 10 o'clock. But it rained last night and that scrape has not been freshened up. Who knows, maybe that buck coming here want to freshen something up. And I can sweet talk him into coming over here to me. That's the plan.
It wasn't too much longer. I sat there and this little buck come easing in here feeding on some acorns. Kind of passed the time by. Got real windy. It's getting on up in the middle of the day now and pretty much is just about ready to come down out of the tree stand. And this little joker he looks like he's fixing to bed down right there. And he almost did. He like dropped his leg like he wanted to lay down, and then next thing you know he's feeding again. He just don't quite know what he wants to do. Right there he almost dropped the bed down. He chose not to. And a few minutes later he actually gets over there out of my sight and does bed down. So he pretty much hung around here for a long time. This is him getting back up out of his bed. It's done calmed down and he decides to walk off. So I'm like, okay, I've been in this stand long enough. Time to go.
Well, it's really quiet and calm this morning. You can hear a squirrel walking 200 yards away. That's how quiet it is. I've sat here before, several years back, and about 80 yards away I spotted a giant buck. But the majority of the bucks I've seen cross this little ridge that I'm sitting on. And they're heading to the bed area. I'm in between two bed areas. But this morning, again, I saw a good buck crossing about 80 yards out. So maybe I'm going to have to get about 80 yards out further. See if I can't put an arrow in him. Okay, I just come off that hilltop there, followed this main trail down. There's this little flat right here. You can tell the honeysuckle, greenbrier and everything just thick in here. Right there's a deer bed. And then just about, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's a much fresher deer bed right over here. You can see it right over there. It's been laying like on both sides of that hump. Maybe another deer bed over there. Anyway, I found where some deer bedding I think there might actually be bucks. There's the freshest buck sign I've seen has been right in here. You can tell it's just real thick, plenty of escape cover to get into real quick. Just about maybe 100 yards, 150 max is a swamp. I'm going to the swamp because I think the bigger bucks are going to be bedding in that swampy marsh. That's where I'm headed now. Sometimes you just find a jackpot. I think that right there is a pretty good little treasure to find out in the woods. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but right there is a deer bed. And one may lay down over there. A little high hump right here. Got all this thick stuff to your back. You can just see it right up there. It's really thick, trashy. And you can see over there pretty good. It's still got a thick, trashy drainage. I came from over there. Right over in there is deer beds. Right along this little edge, you can just see this thick stuff. It's kind of open out in front for a pretty good ways. It's a steep little drop off, steep little ravine. That bottom is thick, really thick. And if you go straight down the front, I just came up out of there. That's super thick, headed toward the swamp. This trail I followed came out of that swamp. There's a good rub line coming up through here. I don't know when he's traveling this, but I do know he's checking on these doe bed areas. I don't think he's bedding in this spot. I could be wrong.
Just so you know, if you run across one of these gas well pumps, it's got a ladder on it, and you want to climb all the way to the top of that ladder just so you can get a very good bird's eye view of the lay of the land, beware. It's not a good idea. These little boogers flying around right here, they can flat ruin your day. Good advice.
I started at daybreak trying to work my way down into this little draw. I'm in a hardwood ditch draw, QMZ, whatever you want to call it, in between two clear cuts. Actually, it could be considered three clear cuts. It's like a three-way edge. And I've got huge rubs right below me. Acorns falling right here. They've been tearing this bank up. It's 7:34 in the morning. That's how long it took me to pick the right tree. I ain't in the best tree, I know, but the tree I can't get in that tree. Wind won't let me in there, so I'm really chancing it this morning with the wind. It's supposed to rain. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it happen, but I know I'm in the right spot. I'm pretty sure if I didn't make too much noise that they're bedded right across from me. Maybe they'll get up this morning, come over here and get a bite to eat. That's the plan. Seems like it would work. If you're hungry, I'll be here waiting. This wind is terrible this morning. We're gonna get right into the thick nasty of the stuff. I'm tired of skipping around these deer, trying to figure out what it is they're doing. I'm gonna get right in with them. Sink or swim. Might be going for bust, but I guarantee you I'm where they live. This is the ticket right here. There ain't no being quiet in all this mess, but I've got this far. I'll try to make it the rest of the way. I'm gonna get right on the edge of this swamp. These deer travel right through this mess in this corner. Unbelievably loud in here. Those deer, they'll travel right in this mess. It is thick. Thick, thick, thick. And that's what the deer like. Maybe I'll get one today. Well, I'm not very high off the ground. Maybe only 15 feet off the ground, which is high enough in this. Get any higher, I won't be able to shoot in here. It's a little strip right here. You can, I don't know if you can actually see the water over there or not, but there's water and a strip of dry land right over there. Those deer come across that swamp and they come up this edge right here. A lot of times they'll walk this edge. They'll ease out into this clear cut just a little ways. There's acres over there in that little strip of woods, and it's clear cut on the other side. I've sat over there on them acre trees and watched these deer walk this edge over here. The bucks, anyway. So they'll come out as far as this edge right here and walk it, and then they'll ease right back in the woods. If they do that today, they might be in trouble. Well, I was going to try to sneak in this little draw, and Lord decided to bring me a pretty heavy rain today. It's not supposed to rain according to the weatherman. You know, the weatherman's never wrong. But good Lord provided me with this rock ledge. I can sit under it, and at least I can observe this morning. Maybe I'll get a little better idea of how this buck's utilized in this area. At least I can stay dry.
One thing I believe people overlook is the ability to slip hunt. When you're walking through the woods, you got to move slow. Think about your path that you're going to take. Try to keep brush in between you and where you expect to see the deer. Sneak around the area. Can you spot the deer in this video right now that I'm slipping up on? There's a deer right there. It's very, very hard to see in this video. Just goes to show you how they blend in so well with their environments. You're not looking for a whole deer. You're looking for pieces of deer. A flicker of a tail, an ear, horizontal line, a leg. When I zoom in on this deer, you're going to go, wow, I never would have found that deer. That's what I hear a lot when you're slipping through the woods. You spot a deer. People say, how'd you see it?
You know, I've gone all over this club hunting a spot basically to get away from the other hunters. You got 6,500 acres of property here, and you can't find a ridge, draw, holler, pinch point, or anything that ain't got a tree stand, ladder stand, pop-up blind, shooting house, or something. Kind of getting on my nerves. And more hunting pressure on this piece of club property than any public lands that I've ever been on. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, find some other place. This is a white oak acorn tree. It's out behind Lucky Buck area. It's a huge white oak acorn tree. If you look up in that tree, it's hard to tell, but they still acorns up there in that tree all over the place. And this is in February. People say, well, there ain't no acorns left in the woods at all. And the deer are feeding on this tree. Where's that acorn at, babe? And that's what you got. Fresh white oak acorns. You pulled the cap off of it, didn't you?
One thing I've learned about acorns is that you can hunt deer on acorns the entire deer season. It's a good tip.